Welcome everybody to Viada's Tiny House Village. I have been wanting to do this video for some time about mold and mildew. This is a big concern for people who are living in a tiny house and a big concern for people who live in Florida in general because it's moisture, lots of humidity, and lots of heat. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you exactly what you need to avoid the mold and to get rid of the mold and mildew and to keep it away. Stay tuned. So come on in to welcome to the village. I'm out here in the humid, hot Florida weather. And for the last 10 years, I've been living in a space of less than 400 square feet of living space. Now, I thought when I moved into my 320 square foot house that I was now in a big house, but the standards for tiny house living are if it's less than 400 square feet, it's still tiny. So I'll accept that. Now, congratulations if you're here looking for a solution to mold or mildew in your home. I've had so much experience. First of all, as a owner of a holistic home and body care cleaning company, I had so many showers in big homes that I was cleaning using natural products that I had to use to get rid of the mildew in their showers. People always have mildew in their showers if number one, they don't dry off the tile after they shower, and number two, the house is warmer than usual. Here, how do mildew and mold grow? Heat and moisture. Those are the two main ingredients that invite mildew and mold into your house. So it's important to build your tiny house with materials that are mildew or mold resistance. You don't necessarily want to have a lot of wood in your building that is not resistant to mildew and mold. And again, if you have moisture and heat, you're going to have mildew and mold growing. But there are ways to control it, okay? I'm going to play my video for you again, just to show you what I went through in controlling the mildew. First of all, when I would clean showers in these huge homes, 4 bedroom, 3 baths, all these beautiful homes, mildew is there. Why? People don't consider that when you take a shower and you leave all that water on the tile, guess what? If you don't dry it off and the house is warmer in that area, and let's just face it, if you take hot showers all the time, and then you turn the hot shower off and the heat is still there and the water, guess what? Mildew can grow there easily. Now, the mildew won't stay there if you're wiping the shower off after you shower. This is something I trained my clients to do, and believe me, it helped me so much when I would go back 2 weeks later and have to clean their shower again. Now, I use food grade peroxide to get rid of the mildew and mold. Be very, very careful if you're dealing with mold that has been around for a long time. You probably want to wear a mask or something to cover your nose so you're not breathing in those spores that could easily be in the air when you're wiping them off. But I used to go in there with food grade hydrogen peroxide. Bleach is only temporary. Bleach does not keep the mold and mildew away permanently. That mildew and mold will come back if what? If the conditions are hot and wet. So keep that in mind. Moisture and heat is what grows mildew and mold. They love that environment. Those little spores will come out and you'll have mushrooms pretty soon if you don't watch out. So, first thing first, if you're building your tiny house, make sure you're using materials that will resist the mildew and mold growth. But beyond that, it's about maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. So, once you have your house built and you're in Florida, especially, or any climate that has heat and moisture, and you don't use an air conditioner all the time to keep the temperature below a certain level, if you're not wiping off that moisture all the time, guess what? You're going to have mildew. So I would advise you to always, always keep a towel of some kind near your shower. When you're finished showering, take that towel and wipe off excess moisture on the tile and on the floor. This is just a preventive measure. I know it may not be something people want to do because they want to get out of the shower and rush. They're usually in a rush. But if you want to keep the mildew away, you have to practice maintenance and follow up. After your shower, towel, wipe it off real quick. A squeegee does not always get all the moisture. Some people have squeegees in that shower. That's better than nothing. Okay? Just use that squeegee real quick if you're in a hurry and make sure all the moisture is off the walls. But then if you don't wipe the floors, guess what? Mildew's going to show up. So if you can, if you want to use a squeegee on the tile walls in your shower, and then have a towel on the floor to wipe up the excess moisture and keep the temperature in your house cooler, especially in the bathroom right after a shower. Okay. Now, if you are in a tiny house with windows and you're not using a lot of air conditioning, like myself, I don't like air conditioning. I don't, it gets too cold. But in the heat of Florida, you have to use the air conditioner. So I have a little mobile air conditioner that I turn on and off, but I'd rather have the temperature higher, like 85 sometimes, or 79 at the very lowest. Then 65 will never be the temperature in my house. So how do I control the mildew and mold after 10 years of living in 160 square feet at first? And then have 320 square feet now. Here are four essential oils that should become furniture polish in your house if you want to keep the mildew and mold away. Number one, cinnamon oil. The fragrance is wonderful, like cinnamon buns, cinnamon. Put cinnamon oil, a couple of drops of cinnamon oil on a cloth. You can use olive oil as a base. The next one is pine oil, cinnamon oil, pine oil, tea tree oil, and clove oil. Those are the four oils that will keep mildew away. Now you can use these four oils in on your window seal, in on any surfaces that will take oil and essential oils well, like your window seals. Usually, even if you have wooden window seals, I would use them like at least once a week, sometimes less, depending on the temperature outside or in my house. Put drops of cinnamon oil, pine oil, tea tree oil, and clove oil on a cloth. Pour a little olive oil on that cloth, but and wipe down all the window seals with that oil. If you have ceiling fans, I do this at least once a month in my house. I turn the fan off, get on a ladder, and I wipe the whole fan with this formula of mold and mildew prevention. You wipe the whole, get up there on the ladder and wipe each fan blade with cinnamon, clove oil, pine oil, and tea tree oil. You will never have mildew. I have 10 years, I've never had a mildew problem in my house. The only time I even would smell anything was if I went on vacation for a week, but that was rare because I would load up the cinnamon oil and the clove oil and the pine oil and tea tree oil. I'd wipe everything down before I left. So guess what? When I came back, even if the air conditioning wasn't on in the fall or winter, the house smelled wonderful, wonderful. No mildew, no mold. They do not like these four, or cinnamon oil, don't like them. Now, another alternative is to get a diffuser, a small diffuser, put that water in there, and then drop your cinnamon oil, your pine oil, your tea tree oil, and your clove oil in the diffuser, and let that fragrance diffuse throughout the house. You might, depending on how large your tiny house is, you might need more than one diffuser, but that works really well, and the house would just smell all the time with those fragrances, safe, natural fragrances, or aromas that will keep the mildew and mold away. So, this is the time of year in Florida, especially where it's getting a little cooler. So, you may not need to do the wipe down of these oils as frequently, but I still love the fragrance. I have a diffuser now, so I run that every day now. And here's a third alternative: get your incense, cinnamon incense, pine incense. I just bought some pine incense. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But I was at a farmer's market this weekend, and I saw pine incense, clove incense. They don't have tea tree incense, but they had cinnamon. Some cinnamon's hard to find. But if you find any incense with those fragrances, that's your mildew and mold prevention. Okay? So write that down: cinnamon oil, essential oil, pine essential oil, tea tree essential oil, and clove essential oil. Another thing some people can have done is actually boil the clove that you use in your ham on the holidays. Boil your cloves and put some cinnamon in there, and pine and maybe tea tree, and boil it. The only problem with that is you're going to get heat from the boiling of those. If you cool it off, and then maybe you can sit that in the corner of your tiny house, and you'll get some fragrance from that. But don't let the heat from the boiling come up from the pot too often. Again, heat and moisture is what creates mildew and mold. When I was visiting my grandparents in southern Illinois in the summer, their house always smelled moldy. They did not have air conditioners, and they didn't have these tricks that I'm giving you with the essential oils. In fact, any places in the South, if you were young, if you're old enough to remember visiting places where there's a lot of heat and moisture, even in the Caribbeans, you'll find if they don't have air conditioning and they have living a simple life, it's going to be that smell of mildew in the air, because it grows in heat and moisture. But you can prevent that. This video that I made for tiny houses shows you the type of wood. This is a house in Oregon. This wood is perfect for a tiny house, very resistant to mildew and mold. So you would not see a lot of mildew and mold growing on this type of wood. So if you're this was a house that was being built, and he had a lot of metal in this house. If you notice some of the metal around here, metal resists mold and mildew. So if you can, use a lot of metal in your home, and maybe paint it, but especially paint your wood with paint that outside of my house. This wood was all at the I did not maintain the wood very well, and so lots of things grew on this wood throughout the 5 years. This is the new owner of that house. She bought it from me, and this wood really decayed with mold and mildew, because I did not maintain it very well, but I maintain the inside perfectly. So as you can see, this house has wood that needed repair. Here it was starting to wear out from the weather. This house 5 years went through at least 2 or 3 hurricane winds and rain. And I did have a unit, an air conditioning unit in this house. But again, I hate it. It would give out so much cold air that I rarely used it. I would just open the windows, which was not a good idea. But my window sills were perfectly free of mildew and mold. This is an example. Well, the cow was my neighbor. Now, this is my current home. The outside is all stucco. I replaced this door. Now, these were wood doors that were decaying and falling off. Now I have new doors, and the roof is new. This wood, as you can see, became really deteriorated, which has been, I had to replace that, which did not cost. I did it myself. I am the DIY queen when it comes to tiny houses. So we have less maintenance. This was putting in now, as you see, this wood, this is the wood that let's see, go back a little. This is what my house looked like before I painted all the walls. And even though this house was sitting sitting without air conditioning, this is the air conditioning unit that was not hooked up. This was what all the walls looked like when I remodeled. I pulled this out, and this was the beginning of the bathroom. This is now my bathroom. All this was pulled out. The air conditioning unit was taken out. A huge monster of a thing. Took that out. Now I have a portable one that. But this was the bath. This is the bathroom that I created, and it looks very different, as you'll see. But the floor I actually put in. This was the beginning of my bathroom. I put in plastic tile, or easy to remove tile, linoleum, not linoleum, but tile, plastic of a sort, tile. Again, you see the walls. All these walls were painted with 3 coats of mildew resistant paint, but these walls withstood several years of no air conditioning and did not mold or mildew because I believe they were probably treated with something. But this is the beginning of my kitchen. The ceiling, again, no termites, no mildew. When I moved in, there were no signs whatsoever of mildew or mold in these ceilings. So the constructor, the guy who built this 320 square foot house, put in the best materials to resist mildew and mold of any kind, because I have not had a problem with that even today. Some of these beams are still showing, but the ceiling is all filled in with foam like, not foam, but styrofoam like inside. And there's the bathroom. So this building, this creation of my home, my new home, has been a real educational process for me. But again, I wanted to just make sure that anyone out there who's considering a tiny home, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't have a mortgage. I have very few expenses, and the roof was put on about 3 years ago. A brand new roof was put on by my son and his dad. So mildew and moldu, mildew and moldu. Yeah, mildew and mold, not a problem if you're considering a tiny house. The main thing is to reduce the moisture and heat. And if you can't do that, I tell you, you can still keep mold and mildew away by using cinnamon oil, pine oil, tea tree oil, and clove oil of any. Just wipe it everywhere on the window sills. And even I even use it as furniture polish sometimes. Just put a little olive oil on a cloth again and just wipe everything down. And it just smells wonderful. You're inhaling healing scents in your home. So that's all. I just wanted to bring you this information that I've been holding in my head for several weeks now. It's like I got to get this in. You don't have to worry about that if you and they're not expensive. These oils can be purchased at Vitamin Shop or maybe Walgreens. I'm not sure, but any health food store you can order them online. Amazon carries them. So they're not very expensive and they last for a while because you only need a few drops to prevent and treat. Now, treating mildew and mold is the best way to do that. I have found naturally is food grade hydrogen peroxide, and depending on how bad the mold or mildew has been there, you might need to use it full strength, but make sure you wear gloves because food grade peroxide comes usually sometimes 35%, which is it will turn your fingers white if you don't use gloves. So use gloves. You can order that online, 35% food grade. You got to be very careful with it. Please don't try drinking it, rinsing your mouth, unless you dilute it. There's usually dilution instructions on the package. But use food grade peroxide if you already have a mildew or mold situation that you're trying to get rid of. And it usually works. It just depends on how deep that mildew and mold has gotten in. Once you use the food grade peroxide to wipe off the mildew and mold in your shower or on your window sills, use paint to cover it and make sure that paint is mildew resistant. They sell that at all the Home Depot, Lowe's, all of those. And you can have a wonderful, joyful, fragrance filled adventure in your tiny house. Experience it, and it's so peaceful. So I hope this has been helpful. Please leave your comments if you have any questions. I'll try and answer them, but I have had no problem for 10 years with either mildew or mold in my tiny house. So enjoy your space wherever you are. And again, you can use this technique in a larger home as well. If you're in a warm, moist, hot climate, this is the thing to do. Okay. So everybody have a good evening. I'll be back this week with more on vegetable soup for women. We've almost completed our book. And please don't remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos on tiny house living because this is my joy. This is my experience. This is my passion. And it has saved me so much money on a fixed income. And I'm blessed to have this land out here where I'm growing some food in the corner. I'm growing tomatoes right over here in the corner. The vine is way up here now. So having a smaller house gives you more time to do natural things like growing food, and just be in the garden with butterflies and squirrels. And I have a bird feeder over here. I see bluebirds, cardinals all the time. Life is good in the tiny house village. So try it. Give it a try. If you're struggling with rent and expenses, the first step is to buy some land. Find people who are like-minded, like yourself, and put in your monies and find cheap. There's cheap land everywhere, but you're going to have to leave the urban city areas to find really cheap land. And then you can build your own house and have some freedom without some of the restrictions of urban living. Okay, so I'll be back with more tiny house goodies, nuggets. So stay tuned. I'll be back to help you enjoy this journey to a simpler life.